All right, I'm going to go live. I'll share this into you, baby. What's up, team? Tune in. I'm just sharing this post out. Hey, what's up, crew? Just give me a second. I'm just sharing this post out to get some people on. Got my son running around. So we got a few viewers already. It's going to be a good chat, this one. Got one of my good friends on. All right. Hey, team, welcome to, we're just going to have a quick chat here. I'm joined with Michael. He's the CEO and founder of Indigenous Values. I'm very unorganized. Let's just bring the bro on. I met him through LinkedIn, and he's doing amazing work. He works also with Sky City with some friends of mine. As you know, Rob Campbell's a very good friend of mine, and he does a lot of work with Sky City and with our people. It's all about helping our people overcome all these bad statistics that we're overrepresented in. We're a minority in this country, yet we are overrepresented in all of the bad stats. So how do we overcome these? It's about enabling and educating our people that we can be better, and not just sticking to the norm and just being used to the way that things are and trying to break cycles. So let's bring the bro on. I've got my son. Sorry, it's going to be, we're keeping it real today. Welcome, brother.
Hey, kia ora whānau, me.
How many kids have you got, bro?
No, we're just having our first one in July.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so we're pretty stoked. Well, first one, blood. You know how family is,
Yeah.
We've been having to play the parents' role for quite a few years. Now we get to just have one of our own and get them when they're cute as well, when they're babies.
We were just talking about that, me and Corinne. Corinne's looking at, my wife's looking at pictures of Brooke when he was young, saying, man, look at how small and cute he was. He's really cute now, but geez, they're just into, he's nearly 3, and he's just into everything, bro. But it's an amazing blessing. Do you know what you're going to have?
No. We thought we'd try to do the whole surprise thing.
Yeah.
And see how it goes.
Awesome, bro. Hey, man, we got a few viewers on now. So, hey, what's up, Tolu? Leanne, kia ora to all the team. Please, as you're going, ask any questions if you want. Green. and we'll get firing. Brother, can you just tell us a bit about yourself, bro? And the mahi doing?
Yeah, we'll do. Well, kia ora ana. In terms of my pepeha, my whakapapa, I'm from all over the Tai Tokero in terms of my ancestry. So, Mōrewa, Tāheke o Manaia, Whirinaki, Motiti, Moti Paraka. I also hail from Mangaia in the Cook Islands. So that's my grandfather's side as well. And born and raised out in the mighty west of Auckland. So Tamaki ki te uru. So proud Kelston boy. Proud Kelston boy whānau. Currently live out in Tatatu Peninsula or Tan North. I'm the proud founder along with my wife and proud CEO of Indigenous Growth Limited. And what we do is that we help organizations create a thriving environment for our Indigenous people. Okay, so we develop leadership capability, all of this so when our people get jobs, they actually do well. So it's no longer just about surviving, but it's actually about thriving as well. And so that's a little bit about us. And that's what we do. But the reason why we do it is that we want to conquer the poverty cycle. So those statistics, we know them all. High school dropouts, all right, crime, incarceration, I think that's the flash name for it. We're in the low jobs. We're working minimum wage. We are on 70, 80 plus hours a week. All of these types of things that Indigenous people, not just here in Aotearoa, New Zealand, amongst our Māori and our Pacific, but I'm talking about Indigenous people worldwide. So these are the common statistics. So we want to tackle those by actually working with our families that have jobs. And how do we develop them? And how do we get them into those leadership positions so our kids start seeing our family and start going, oh, maybe I can be a GM, right?
Yeah.
Maybe I can do that. So a little bit about us.
So, bro, what are some of those stats that you're talking about?
All right, so the statistics we're talking about, and if I can say from like a personal story, I grew up in the stereotypical Maori household, so 3-4 families in one house. None of them, supposedly no fathers around because we can all get the benefit if we didn't have fathers around. And we didn't know when the next meal was going to be. We were evicted. So I went to 11 different primary schools before I went to thing, right? Because you're getting evicted every 6 months. On Thursday night, when there's some pay, they go straight and gamble and drink, and you don't know if you're going to get your rent paid. So I remember when I was 7 years old, I was walking up to the local pub trying to get the rent money.
Wow.
Right? Just because you didn't know if you were going to get evicted into another house, into another place. So we're talking about all of those statistics. And how we want to tackle it is, I used to be very angry at my parents and my bubble and my upbringing. So I'm the youngest. You can afford to be angry because you've got heaps to protect you and be spoiled in their way. But I was just thinking, man, it didn't seem like a fun life. Earning an honest living.
Oh, sorry, team. It's just frozen up there. You there, bro? You there, brother? Oh, I can eat. You there, bro? You there, bro? Mike? Yeah. Sorry, team. Brother.
Come on.
You there? I can see
the
you.
Internet's.
Ooh. If the bro will come back, I'll message him now. Can you all still see me? This is going to be a really good talk. I really want to get the bro back on.
Oh, did that happen? Did that work out? What happened there?
I see you now, but I don't see you, but I hear you. Oh, there you are.
Hello?
Yeah, bro.
Yeah. Did we go? Sorry about that. I don't know what happened.
We'll just make sure no one else is sharing the internet, bro. Can you hear me?
Yeah. We'll do. So everything else is off. Everybody else off the internet. Yeah. So I don't know where it cut off, but those were the statistics, right? So we're talking about our role models for our children, and the only time we see our parents happy, we're at the parties, and they start every time you ask them how work was, you were like, "Oh, how's work, Dad? How's work, Mum? Oh, work's work. Another day, another dollar." Right? Thank God it's Friday. So they're always worrying about paying bills and all that stuff, but we never really saw them happy. And this is the statistics we want to challenge.
Yeah, I think it's so true, bro. I remember, just as you're talking about that, I remember being when I was young, when my father went away, I went to Australia, and I came back and I lived with my mum in Hamilton for a while, and I remember that going around to parties looking for my mum, and it's just when you were going through changing, how many primary schools did you change from?
Yeah, rough. Well, my numbers keep changing between about 8 to 11 primary schools.
And how did that affect you? With schooling and stuff.
Yeah, well, teachers used to say I was dyslexic, or I could never really focus. I wasn't too, so I'm not. I might communicate in an outgoing way, but friends isn't a norm because I was just used to family all the time.
Yeah.
But then you just have to learn to be agile and adapt. So when you don't know any different, you just carry on. So I can see the differences compared to my wife, who had one house her same friends from birth, all of that, so we had all of those, to myself, who was always changing in so many different things.
How did you get into what you're doing now, bro? So did you go to uni or what? So take us through that.
Yeah, so our story is about 15. My wife and I were over all the abuse that was happening at home. So we call ourselves self-homeless. We ran away. We put ourselves through school, and the school didn't know till we were about year 13. They didn't know, because we were signing each other's permission slips. So, hey, it's the grind, eh? You're on the grind. And we went to uni, and we both went to uni as well. And we actually achieved all this stuff because we were angry. Like, we were angry at our bubble, if I can use that word now. We were over it. I did a business degree, commerce degree. She done hers in arts and education, and we just knew that our whole life was dedicated to make sure that kids didn't have to go through what we went through.
Yeah.
Right. So it's just that stuff.
And what did you do before you founded this organization you're with now?
Yeah. So I was fortunate. I worked for the business school. The executive short courses, executive education team. So they got to develop CEOs, senior managers, and those people were paying like $1,000 a day.
Wow.
So I was going in there like, what are they learning? And why are they paying $1,000 a day? And why do they keep coming back? So being a cheeky Māori who learned how to scam from a young age, I went and worked for that organization. And then I went on all those courses to learn what they were learning. So if I was a cup of tea guy, the resources guy, the person at the back taking notes for people, whatever I did. And what they learned were amazing. So mindset tools around mental toughness, achieving success, well-being, all of this stuff that these people pay $1,000 a day for 2 days in a row, and they keep coming back while we're just thinking about food on the table, roof over our head. So then I thought, well, let's get our people into those programs. So they said, yes, Mike, awesome. We want more diversity in. Then our people came into those programs to start learning the stuff, and it didn't work for them. They were like, it's not talking to me.
Yeah.
That's where I saw the gap was. I was like, well, they've got amazing tools, but it's not relatable. It's not relevant to our people. And that's where we came up with Indigenous Growth, was even though some of these tools are amazing, we are our principles and our values in this. Yeah. And that's where we should be starting. So we do all of ours based on Indigenous principles, and then we bring some of those amazing tools in that our people don't even know are amazing, that people are literally paying $1,000 a day out there. Right? Wow. So that's how we made our business, where we found the gap.
Yeah.
And there's no other Māori or Pacific business in this field, in our specific field. It's all, Pākehā executive based.
That's so amazing, bro. And talk us about when you started going to those courses, bro, just as you were coming up and you started hearing, what they were teaching. What really blew you away? What was the, something that really just go, wow.
Yeah. So very much because I'm on your Facebook page, and how you use the thing in terms of your why, like they practically define your why. So I realized that my greatest hardships became my greatest competitive advantage. Yeah. I'm like, why am I worrying about that? I should be utilizing this. So I said, actually, when you're self-homeless, you're working before you're delivering the Herald at 3 a.m, you go to school, you do landscaping, you're delivering the Western Leader. Like, man, you've got all of these things that are, you've got so many competitive advantages. So that's what I realized was actually the hardships we had growing up. Those are if we can use it properly, those are the greatest competitive advantage in that world.
Bro, can you talk about that, bro? Because that's so important. Because a lot of the times, our people and anyone that's come from the struggle, sometimes we use it as an excuse. Hey, we just think, oh man, we use it as an obstacle to stop us instead of using it as a reason to keep going and to thrive.
Sorry, bro, it's just cutting out.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Yeah. I heard a bit in there.
what I want to say, if you can just talk about what you just said, so important for everyone to hear and understand, because too often our people, and anyone really that's from the struggle, we don't get that. It took me ages to get it. It took me a while. I would always be down on the world and hate the world and thinking, oh man, why me?
Yeah.
And I can't be anything, and then when I think about it now, I think you're right, and that's what we're teaching in BBM, is that use all of it, like you said, as your advantage, because it's just taught you, it's built you to be resilient, and to overcome all these things. You can do anything in life if you can overcome that. So, how important was that when you realized that, bro?
I was literally about 24, 25 and kind of woke up one day still angry at my upbringing, my parents, my dad. And then I realized, why am I angry? Like, I can pay my bills. I've got automatic, like I'm financially stable. Why am I angry? And then I realized it was drive.
Yeah.
And here's the thing: everyone talks about resilience. Maori, Pacific, Indigenous people are resilient. We've had generations, intergenerational trauma, and we are still here. Our thing is we don't know how to use it, and we always use that quote. You could have so many tools, you can have all the ladders in the world, but if you stack them up like that, it becomes useless, right? Yeah. And that's what's happening. So, are we using it so it's useful, or are we, are we making it hold ourselves down? Like, we should never ignore the past. Actually, we should utilize our past, and it's a part of your why. So why is it that you are so driven to serve your people out in the community and all of this, right? And you think it's just normal, right? And you see so many of the people out there that we see in the BBM movement right now, serving thousands, delivering thousands of milk bottles and all. Why? Because they've got a personal connection to it. Like, we know what it's like to not have food. We know what it's like to have boil up, left second day, third day, fourth day, right? We know what it's like to not have to not be able to eat that last lot of peanut butter and jam and bread in that top left-hand corner of your cupboard, because that's for guests. And even though you don't have food, you still can't eat the guest food, right? Because that's what it is in our culture and our upbringing. So your why is defined by your past, who you are now, and where you want to go. And for our people, if some of that stuff in your past is dark, the darker it is, and without me being too abrupt about it, the more powerful it is. Like, think about it. If we're going in terms of a promotion and they want a manager who can manage 100 people, and they have a person that's had 2 loving parents and have grown up a beautiful, privileged life, and they have somebody who's literally grinded and gone through all of this hardship, made so many mistakes, whether it's your fault or somebody else's, who are they going to choose, right? And the reality is, if it's based on experience, they're going to choose you. But if you don't know that that's your greatest competitive advantage, then they're going to choose a person who's utilizing all the things who are playing their cards right. Right? So yeah, it's so important, and that's what I love about the messaging of your page. Is like, why? Why are you here? Why do you want to live? Why are we going to get you off the couch? And that, for me, that was a big wake up for me.
Yeah, man, I'm just sitting here listening, bro. It's so powerful. It's so powerful, man. Hey, bro, let's go to a couple of questions and then we'll keep getting into it. Got one here, bro. What has been your biggest changing moment?
Yeah, I've had quite a few, so it's almost like different episodes, right? I think the youngest one was when I had was quite a dark one. So when I was just over the abuse at home, and me, I'm quite a soft person, so I've never been physical with people, and I've had to be physical to be able to do that. So that was the biggest life changing. And then my wife and I, we went. But I think a huge one that I had was actually I got a mentor and he was nothing like me. He was a Pākehā man. Oh, he's a Pākehā man. He's very well off. So if you look at all of that stuff, so for me, I didn't think I knew anything about their bubble. What he did was show me that there's a whole nother norm out there. Like, he's never worried about food on the table or roof over their head. That's just a given, you know? So once you know how to do that, once you know that's just a given and you don't have to be afraid of that, you can start dreaming, actual dreams, right? Not just those ones. So that was the biggest life-changing moment.
And it's you know, when we talk about dreams, you know, and what I say, one of the things I say to our people, bro, is, you know, dream big, hey, you know, but you better be willing to work, you know, because if you don't work, it's just a fantasy, you know. It's and obviously, bro, you've worked really hard. How important, bro, was it to be like you met that mentor? Obviously, a positive influence on you. Something we talk about in BBM a lot is surrounding yourself with positive people that lift you up and make you want to be better. How important was that for you, bro? Can you hear me, brother? Jeez, we got a bad connection. Hello?
Yeah.
Can you hear me now, bro?
Yep, I can. Just had to change that up.
Sorry, bro. How important was that surrounding yourself with positive people? You know, you met that mentor and he really sounded like he had a big influence on you.
It's life-changing. So even when I used to go talk to schools, show me your friends, I'll show you your future. And I know you've used that quote as well. Everyone always asks, so with my wife and I, we come from the statistics and all of that. And they go, why are you guys so different? So we've got a business. We're on our way to financial freedom. We're serving our people and feeding our family. Where did all the change happen? Because we all had, you know, very similar upbringings. And actually for us, and this is why I do promote something like university, is the greatest thing that I got from university is I met 50 plus other Māori who were all trying to achieve the same things for their family at university. So where we thought we were different, actually, we have all of these Māoris. And man, they're all doing amazing things and they're all role models and we were all normal. And that's the bubble. So it's so crazy for us because we're almost really outside the bubble that we were brought up in.
Yeah.
So we have to purposely put ourselves in that bubble just to relate and connect again, because all of our friends, all the people that we hang out with, it's all right to dream, and we love doing it.
Yeah. And what's your why now? We often talk about it. What's your why and what's your dream? What's one of your dreams?
Yeah, awesome. Well, actually, I have this thing, and it's called a why-do statement. Right? And a why-do statement that we do inside our programs to actually define our why. Right? So we just put our why on our card, and it's literally saying who we are and why we do what we do. So if I can share that, this is my why. And I've already shared my story. So this is kind of what I do. It's a 30-second pitch, right? That links myself into that story. So here it is. My why-do statement shows that I, Michael, believe that I can empower through action. That in the eyes of my family, what was impossible is now possible. And that I can challenge the norm, making worlds far from normal. So I will do this by setting a precedent for turning dreams into reality, because I believe the dreams that I have are bigger than the needs of myself, making me get one step out of that cycle that we call poverty.
Wow. So
that's my why-do statement, and that links into that whole story that I've kind of shared throughout. It reminds me of when we were 15. It reminds me of why I do what I do.
Bro, I need you to repeat that again for the people. That was powerful. Can you repeat that again, bro? The why-do statement? That was so powerful. Listen up, crew.
All right, kia ora whānau. So my why-do statement shows that I, Michael, believe that I can empower through action. That in the eyes of my family, what was impossible is now possible. And I can challenge the norm, making worlds far from normal. So I will do this by setting a precedent for turning dreams into reality, to be that role model. Why? Because I believe the needs and dreams of myself are much bigger than myself. Just getting that one step out of that cycle that we call poverty.
Man, that's amazing. That's deep.
Mm.
That's man. I'm really looking forward to actually meeting you one day, once we're through this, catching up and doing this face to face, you know, and getting some and learning off you, you know, and bringing you in as well, and getting you to talk to our team leaders, you know. That's so powerful.
Yeah.
We got a question here. You brought up a good point with Pacifica people working 40 plus hours just to meet ends meet. What are some advice for old school Pacifica families transitioning that mentality from working harder to smarter? Good question.
All right, kia ora. What an amazing question. We work with this all the time, and you know just as much as we do, our Māori and Pacific people who are quite traditional, and they think if they work hard, they're going to achieve their goals. And our reality is, my parents were the hardest workers I ever knew, and still after 40 years, they were on minimum wage. So that's a reality, and that's the world that we're in. So what do we have to do to start transitioning from working harder to working smarter? Our big challenge that we give to our Pacific and Māori people are you willing to be humble enough, there's that word, humility, right, to learn more, so to upskill, and more importantly, to take up those leadership roles. Because everybody, and we meet with so many people that are my parents' age or 40 onwards even, and they go, oh, no, I'm just a worker. I've got to let our younger ones come through, or I'm just sacrificing myself because it's all about my kids. If we're really humble, we have to understand that the definition of humility is to make yourself smaller, right? To whakaiti, to make yourself smaller. And how do we do that? And we think, well, what we have to realize is to make ourselves smaller, is to put ourselves up into positions where our people now know that they can achieve it. Okay, so we're talking about quit the 40 plus hours, 60, 70. We need to start applying for those roles and being in those leadership roles so our kids see us as the example. If you hear my wider statement, that's empower through action. Okay, and what I know in a lot of the organizations is that if you're a worker who works a lot of overtime, you're defined as almost a low value worker, right? We want to be able to get our people that can do just as much as what other people can do in 80 hours in 40 hours. And we are that productive. We are that efficient. We just need to know how to utilize this internal humility and external humility.
Yeah, I'm learning so much. This is awesome. You know, a humble word, and you know, I don't know if you followed my little foray into boxing. I was you know, I wasn't I didn't play the most humble character, and it was just a character. Keeping in mind, I had no money, no food, and I didn't have my kids, and I was just striving to survive and doing all I could. So I had to play this character, and quite often I'd get messages, "You're an embarrassment. You're an embarrassment to all our people. You humble yourself. Be humble." You know, and I knew I was humble, but I was playing a character. And I would always, and I'm like I was saying, you know, you have to be the example by action. And I always, when I'm speaking to people, and I don't know what your thoughts are on this, but humble doesn't mean a doormat.
Kia ora.
You know, humble is not being a doormat. It's standing up and talking. Obviously, humble's being you know, to me, I knew I was always a nice person, and I knew where my heart was, and I'm always about others and serving. But that doesn't mean I bow down, you know, and just be a doormat. I speak up for my people and for myself if I believe it needs to be said. But then again, I've also learned that through dealing having with my uncle on board with me. My uncle is a lot older, and like you're saying, being humble to listen. I'm learning that some humility just to listen and take it in, and not be ready just to jump out with my opinion. But what's your thoughts on that, bro? About it's not being a doormat.
Yeah, I think and all of my participants, all the Māori and Pacific we serve, and all these organisations, they'll know that I believe in this. I believe that we are so humble that we've taken it to the extreme, to the point that we are a doormat, that we don't speak up in meetings. So here's the thing in professional world: if you don't speak up, they think you've got nothing to say. Right?
Yeah.
But for us, we don't speak until we have to. It doesn't mean we don't know, but this is when the Western and Indigenous paradigms happen, right? So yes, we believe like humility is one of our greatest strengths, but in anything, is strength overplayed is a weakness, and we've overplayed it to the point that it's taken people like yourself, right, and Israel, who's in terms of how confident he is. It's taken that other extreme to come in for us to be able to get some sort of balance. So what we keep going through is that you need to believe that you're amazing. And if that means you have to communicate it out there in the world, awesome. I'm not a person that cares about what you're saying on Facebook. I don't care if you look like you're succeeding. I care if you're actually succeeding. Now, if you're succeeding and you have to communicate that, then that's what you have to do. Okay, that's what you have to do. Then there'll be another course on how to be humble and how to communicate in a humble way. But as we see, and what we saw with all of your lovers and your haters, is that they've all turned to, well, you can't deny the results.
Yeah.
Right? And that's what you're bringing through. So that's the humility side. Is sometimes what we're seeing a lot of our people do is that because our strengths become a weakness, we've had to manage it. We've had to go to the other extreme just to bring some type of order and balance in. So my tip here is stop making humility a weakness. It's making us look like we're soft when actually it's the greatest strength, right? So how do we start utilizing internal humility and external humility, which we call Modi 2 and Modi Ora in our programs?
Can you talk about that, bro, just quickly?
All right, so internal humility is around making sure that you're humble enough to make yourself better, to continue to grow, and to continue to be well. So these are the people who, like you, are willing to look after themselves so they can look after their family, right? So internal humility, and this is the quietly spoken and a lot of our common things that we talk about. Yeah. External humility is everything that we do that radiates out to all of our relationships. So what you're doing now is you put yourself out there, putting a show on in terms of in the boxing time, but that's to put your kaupapa out on the mainstream media. So actually, we're external humility. Like, that's a very hard thing to do, what you did. Right? That's not very specific to how we are culturally, but you did that because you went to all the different communities. You did that because you're trying to push this movement and look after people in health. So actually what you did is you made yourself smaller. So for me, putting myself into a business, that made me smaller because I gave up probably the highest paying job that any of my family ever had for a business that there was no clients and no market in. But it made me smaller, so that's a humility. Why? So we can serve our people. But you have to be able to control internal humility first to develop your external humility.
Yeah, it was. I mean, just going back to that, that time it was actually at the beginning. It was really hard to play that character. It didn't look like it because people, I was playing a bad wrestler, a bad guy, a wrestler, a heel, they call it.
Yeah. Oh, and I love wrestling, so yeah, I got it, the heel.
You're right. It was so against, what we're taught, but I just I just knew I had to do it, and it was my way to just to again earn a living. But then what it was is like you were saying, I could see, hey, I'm starting to get a following here. And then even if it was a bad following, like people hated my guts, and there's still some there. I still hear some people commenting as I'm having to block them, but majority of them have changed to. But what I did was, as I kept losing weight through the boxing and through everything I was doing, I started that page, BBM Motivation, and then started directing people to there. And then towards the end of my career, it was not about boxing. It was all about helping others and to, again, like you say, by action, by action, by doing. How important is that? Leading by action, because as you are well aware, not all of our leaders, Māori MPI, do this,
Yeah, that's, for me, that's my greatest value. And the thing that I value most, I was over the whole smoking and saying, I don't want you to smoke, right? That type of upbringing. We want more for you to achieve your dreams, but you're not achieving your dreams at the same time. The biggest reason, and this is through all the work that we've done. So now we've finally got statistics to back ourselves up. Yeah. The main reason that our statistics are not changing is because our parents are the greatest role models, right? And you want us to be happy. You want our children to be happy. You need to be happy. You want our children to be well. You need to be well, right? So leading by action. So even with us, so we went to uni. We did that because, one, I'm the first in my family. And then now, since 2009, 11 years later, we've had about 7 of our family members now graduate or are currently at university. Wow. So the reality is there's no point saying, oh, look at this awesome person, Butterbean or Michael Moka or Mike King or all of this type of stuff for our kids to look up to. Yes, they're going to be exciting and be able to give some type of inspiration or motivation. But you are our kids' greatest hero, right? And you're the only one that can make our kids feel like they're going to be the hero of their story. So yeah, empowering through action, lead by action. When you want to make mistakes, just be honest about the mistakes that you make. If you want better for them, be the change that you want to see. It's that simple.
Well, what was the challenges in setting up this company for you?
There was no market, so it's not like somebody knows what they're doing. There was no other Māori in Pacific in this business area. We serve Māori in Pacific, but we don't know, they wouldn't pay for the product because they don't know it's a necessity. So we had to find the payers. So all of these things that we had to learn. But then you have to think, we went 2 years without getting paid anything.
Wow.
Right. So it's kind of like that stepping out in faith and finding, well, what are you going to do? And who are you going to, are you really worth it? And are you really going to make change in a field? So from now on, we're a vision-based business. We're there to serve and conquer those statistics. And we just had to find a way to do it. And there was no blueprint. There was no blueprint at the time. So that was probably the hardest thing for us, plus family things, plus all of that type of stuff too. But we're quite glad now we stuck in.
Yeah. And how's it all going now, bro?
Yeah, well, we're very fortunate to be able to get awesome clients. Like you said, Sky City in New Zealand. And I say those two because they're going through a rough time at the moment, hospitality area. But we're going with organizations who are hiring our Māori in Pacific, and 95% of our people are in frontline and junior management roles. And we know that money's not going to make you happy, but a lack of money will make you unhappy. So we need to get more of a representation in middle management and senior management. And these companies are all on board to starting their plan on how to do it. So yeah, it's an exciting way.
All right, talk about that point you just talked about. Money doesn't make you happy, but not having money Can you go over that again?
Yeah, so we know, and we've seen rich people all around the world know that money can't make you happy. So everyone, if we're chasing money, that's not the definition of happiness. And we're taught about that in our communities all the time. Money's not important, boy. Don't worry about money. Life's not about money. All of that stuff. Our reality is, because we're not taught about money, even though money is not going to make us happy, when we get money, we disrespect it because we think just because it won't make us happy that it's not important. And that's not where the mindset needs to be. Money is important because if you don't have money, and they said that there's a certain wage, I think there's a global wage, that if you're not making a certain amount of money, then your happiness levels will be impacted. So I don't know the research right off the top of my head. But yeah, if you have a lack of money and you're struggling to do the bare essentials, what you'll notice is there'll be an increase in those statistics. So people will need to drink more, smoke more, all of these things to hopefully lower, the fact that they're unhappy because of a lack of money.
Yeah, man, that's so true. That's saying, that money is the root of all evil. I don't believe it.
No.
It's, you can do a lot of good with it. You can do a lot of good with it. You need it. But I do also believe, because I've had nothing and I've had it all. And, I've learned the hard way that it's money definitely doesn't make you happy, because when I just learned it, and then now climbing my way back, I appreciate it. It. And I understand what you can do with it and the lives you can help, the impact you can have. So that's amazing, bro. And tell us, bro, what's so let's take Sky City. Who did you meet from there? How did you get into there? I mean, obviously, I'm good friends with Rob, and he's on our board. How did you get into Sky City, and what's the work that you're doing with them?
So actually our first client. Yeah, so actually our first client, this is a cool thing about business, for anybody who wants to get into business. Still, the number one marketing is word of mouth. Or are we there? Oh, yeah. Yep. So our first client is, are we still there, Fano?
Yep, I can hear you, bro.
So it's really raining right here, so it must be. Oh, cool. So our first client was Fletcher Building. Funny story is when they come in and they wanted to engage with us. They didn't even really know what we were offering. They just knew that they were emotionally invested in the story that we told and the credibility that we had. And what happened is that we got some amazing results, and it's never been done before. And then they all eat at the same dinner table, and one says, "Oh, you need to go work with Indigenous Growth because they do this," and that's how we got with Sky City, and then that's how we got with New Zealand Post and Air New Zealand, because they all talk, right? The reality is results will always beat conversation or great marketing plans or great stories. And if you get the results, so our results, I know with Sky City, when we done our first program and we did a Māori leadership program, 80% of their people had an increase in role, pay, or responsibility within 12 months of the program.
Wow.
Right? So you can't think those results. Rather than putting 16 of our people in 16 different mainstream programs and it doesn't work for them, they just chucked all 16 in with this program, and 80% of them were thriving. And they were just hoping to get 2 or 3, right? So results never lie. And it's awesome because we just get to serve our family in the ways that we do. So that's the one thing I love about Sky City, is that they trusted us as a partner to go, well, we don't know how to serve our Indigenous people. We're willing to be vulnerable enough. We want help, right? Guide us, so they're willing to be vulnerable enough despite them having the authority to be able to do that. So it's beautiful. And that's with people at the helm, like their leadership team. So their HR team with Claire, Amanda, and Jamie, Robin as in terms of the board, Graham in terms of the executives. So vulnerability is key when we're dealing with other organizations. Are we willing to be vulnerable? Are they willing to be vulnerable? Can we amalgamate our strengths and actually create results. Because I'm like, yeah, I'm over all of that. What, bureaucrat, I think you say? We're just, yeah, that's it. We're just about results, give us our people, we will do it. Once we get a pilot program done, they see all the results, then we're just part of the family as normal.
That's awesome. Brother, just finishing, bro. I know that both our wives, we've got to make sure we spend more. Sunday's the family day. Hey.
Yeah.
Just in finishing, bro, just give us a couple of tips. So someone out there right now in a job, that they're just thinking, oh, geez, that's it. Is this all I'm going to do for the rest of my life? Give us some tips for the people watching, just to finish, brother.
Awesome. Yeah, if it's right, I'll give three. I'll give three tips. Number one, our biggest tip is you need to believe in yourself. Apply for roles that are more responsibility and more pay. Don't wait. Just apply. Because our reality is that some people might not even know that you want those roles. So even if you do get a no, and we keep saying this, earn your no. If they say no, ask them why. Get feedback, ask them specifically what you have to do, and then you've created your own development plan and work on it, work on it, work on it. And when I say apply, don't just apply to your work. Apply to all those jobs. There's hundreds of jobs out there for something that's higher than you. Okay, so usually people are going, you can run your own business, but actually you can get a lot more income, right, just by applying. Okay, so update your CVs and do all of that stuff. Number two, humility. Right, start being financially humble. And what we mean by that is a lot of by disrespecting our money, we're spending it on takeaways. We are spending it on things that don't matter. As soon as we get a job, we go get an HP, buy us a flash car. That's not humility. But because we don't think, when we think something's not important, we disrespect it. Right? So just like money, we disrespect it because we're taught that it's not important. If you were to respect it, you would only spend on the essentials. And this is where we're coming into tip number three. Well, once we have a bit more time, more energy, and more money, you can start investing it in something. So if you were to lose your job due to a crisis, like coronavirus, redundancy, or something like that, you haven't given the remote control to your financial security to your workplace. For our families, we like to be the providers. And we say that, I provide for my family, when you don't. The reality, a majority of our people is we're not the providers our workplaces are. We live week to week, paycheck to paycheck. Actually, if we were to save a bit more, spend a bit more humbly, then we could start getting that money, investing it in stuff that's actually going to help our family. Okay, so my three tips in there in terms of the workplace: believe in yourself. You're Maori, you're Pacific, you're a leader. Who cares if you dropped out of school and all that stuff? Your experience, if you use it properly, is more experienced than any educated person, right? So number one is apply. Number two, be financially humble. So number three, you can start setting yourself up to actually be the provider for your family, not the organization, not your paycheck, from week to week. So those are my three tips.
Amazing. We got a question from one of my friends, Simon. It was good to see you yesterday, brother, coming through for the flu vax. Good to see you and the family. I really want to do this again where we get a better connection too. Do you just work with corporates, or can you work?
Yeah. No, so our one is obviously we go with people because we still need to feed our family, so who will pay us? But actually, it doesn't really matter. Our vision is to serve our people. Okay, so to serve our people, and most of our people work for mainstream organizations, so we go into mainstream organizations. But if you are going to give us access to more of our people, with what we do, then that's all we don't have a big marketing and sales team, so they were just the easiest ones to get to first.
How can people get a hold of you, bro? Where's the website or email?
Yeah, so we've got a website, indigenousgrowth.com. We've got a Facebook page on Indigenous Growth, and also LinkedIn. So connecting through. So Michael Moka is our LinkedIn. We also been asked to develop some online content for our people to download. So online courses and stuff. So there's one is looking at coming out very soon around how do we take our financial security back from our employers, right? So I'll be talking to Dave to see if we can give an offer out to your community too, bro. If it's of value, okay. If it's of value, so how can we start serving more of our people? So I saw unemployed there. I see some people, that's where we want to go. So how can we serve more people, every day?
Awesome. I'll get your details. I mean, I've got your details. I'll post them in the comments later. The website and how you can get the Facebook page. Just amazing. Simon just messaged me, bro, and I'll give you the bro's number. Simon's a good guy, and be good for you guys to connect, I reckon.
Yeah. Awesome.
Hey, bro. So just in finishing, you've got the apply. A lot of these things you're talking about are really real similar, eh? There's a synergy here, It's amazing, and I'm really looking forward to getting out of this and bringing you in to talk to the team, bro. We got apply, which for me is just starting. Hey, start. Never give up. Keep going, and reach for the stars. Like we said, dream big, but work hard. Humility. It's humility with finances. I've been there, man. I will be humble with my finances. And this is the thing, bro. When you come from nothing and all of a sudden you have some money, that's why I feel for athletes and these rap stars who have come from nothing and then they get all this money and then you hear them in the news or in the newspaper that they're broke. You go, how the hell did that happen? Yeah. I can tell you how it happened.
That's easy.
Yeah. And it's you're not prepared for it, bro? If you're not prepared for it as a youngster coming up, you've got no appreciation for it. You get it and you're just stupid with it, And you do stuff that you think you're doing, like you're just buying everyone stuff, your family doing stuff, you're being overly generous, because that's all you know.
Yeah.
And then you lose it all, and it's like, man, how did that happen? So it's like saying, you don't need 100-inch TV. You know what I mean? If you just got a job, cars are no longer symbols of success because you only need good credit. So you don't need to go out and get the flashiest car. It's just like, is that what you're meaning by humility with finances?
Yeah, exactly. Yes. You don't need all the shiny things. Why are we spending on shiny things when actually, if you ask people what's important to them, those shiny things wouldn't even make the top 20. All right. Yeah. And so what are we really spending on? And that's where we ask you to be humble and to look inside and say, hey, am I actually living to my values? Or do I just think my values don't? It doesn't matter now we talk about money and stuff.
Yeah.
We should be using our values every day. Yeah.
And that's where, like for me now, I mean, bro, look, I'd love a V8,
Yeah.
And one day I'll have something like that. But for now, it's getting into our.
Yeah.
So that's what I was saying. For me now, my goal is getting my family into a home one day, and then when all that's happened, then we can go and when I can afford it and just go out and buy it, with no worries about it's just going to affect my rent next week. So, that's when you can enjoy, bro. Enjoy the success that you've worked for.
Yeah. And that's our big thing too. So we
Yeah.
keep going in. My wife and I, 31 and 32, and we live. We don't have to get us a flash car, despite having a business that's earning quite a bit. And in this coronavirus, we've had about more than 6 figures gone over the next 6 months of work,
Wow.
and it's gone to zero. And we don't have all of those big overheads and stuff, so we can still pay our workers.
Yeah.
Because we're able to think. And so it's simple things like trying to keep your bills under 50% of your income. Like that should be a goal, because imagine what you could do with that other 50%. So yeah, definitely it's something that is achievable within 10 years.
Beautiful, brother. Hey, man, thank you very much for catching up with me today, man. I know it's family day, so I want to go away and enjoy the family. I will post all of your details in the comments, because
Awesome.
there's a lot of people here wanting to connect. So that's awesome. And definitely, bro, when we get through this, let's come in and do a workshop or something, I reckon, and we'll,
sounds like a plan. I follow your stuff religiously, so really, I know it already aligns. And so for me, I just love seeing people who, I'm like, oh, yep, I know the science behind all the stuff you're saying too, but you also know the practical side, and that's it's like, it's good. We're all singing the same song. We just have different parts and playing different harmonies. So really appreciate it.
Bro. Now, thank you, brother. We're stronger together, my bro, and that's us. God's plan, bro. God bless you, man, and your family.
God bless you too.
Thank you for tuning in, team, and we'll catch you all soon. What's tomorrow? Monday, we're on for our boot camp at 11 a.m. See you then.
Radio Order Whānau.